Welcome back to week 2 of my Ironman training block and the lead up and countdown to my first Ironman. In the last video I got a few requests for a nutrition based update of how I'm fueling for this. I have done something similar to this in the past and I'll link that in the description below for you to check out. It's a free download on our website entirePC.com, but it takes you through what I do on a day-to-day basis in terms of my fueling. But I'm also going to take you through that today and show you a little bit about what I do to fuel my day-to-day. It's like a 7,000 calorie day easily. Be sure to stay through until the end because I'm going to take you through the biggest day of training that I've done thus far. Yeah, I mean, it's a long time to be in the aero position. And being on that thing for 3.5 hours and putting an absolute shift in on the bike and hopefully, because it's yet to be done. So far, so good. The run session tomorrow morning may not be so good, but have a decent session and well-fueled session and not absolutely mash up my legs. So if you haven't checked out week 1, please do. I'll link it in one of the cards up above. But basically it ended on the weekend with a nice long ride with the guys and then a long run with a bit of tempo on the Sunday. So all in all, week 1 done, 28 and a bit hours of training, and I wasn't feeling too bad, but I don't tend to feel bad until week like maybe 3 of 28 to 30 hours of training. So I'm just trying to keep on top of it all at the moment, but so far so good.
Oh my god. So the boys have got a 1,000 meters group efforts. Can't hold my breath for that one.
So starting out the week as per usual with a 6k swim, 10k run, and then a hard bike session on the Monday as well. And this week I felt so much better than I did the week before, and I think that's because I'm into the swing of things, I'm not laggy from taking rest, and yeah, it's just feeling a lot better this week so far.
No.
I was going to say.
Nutrition-wise, what I tend to do when I'm coming into a block of training is I tend to overfuel in the week leading into the training itself, so that I'm a little bit heavier, got a little bit more surplus energy to try and last me the length of the block, because it's really hard to keep on top of your fueling and nutrition throughout that block. You tend to lose weight if you're doing 30 hours plus of training, so it's really hard to get the calories in when you're burning 6,000, 7,000 calories a day. So I'll show you what I eat as we go through the video, but yeah, just bear in mind, I do tend to overfuel before the block itself. But legit, that's what they care about?
It is like... Do you take any supplements?
Me?
Yeah.
The bike session was really tough. I did actually execute it very well. All my numbers were looking good. My legs weren't hurting that much at the time. However, they did start ringing towards the back end of the evening afterwards. But yeah, no, all in all, it went really well. It was the first like harder bike session that I've done in weeks and weeks, like thresholdy sort of efforts. All in the time trial position, which I'm not used to whatsoever. I very rarely actually spend time in that position. For no good reason. I definitely should and will be doing this block because 4 hours in the skis is just not advisable if you haven't spent a lot of time there already. Okay, so my nutrition isn't exactly very strictly healthy. I'm just like a balanced sort of guy, like in terms of I just try and have a balanced diet, and I don't restrict myself in terms of crisps or beer that much. Like, I mean, I have one every now and again. It's not often at all. Everything in moderation, I say. But yeah, no, it's more of a case of I tend to eat a lot to craving if I do crave something, but also try and keep on top of things as much as possible. So like straight after a bike session, I will have some protein of some sorts, but then also I'll probably have some crisps and a beer potentially in the evening. Not often, like I say, but it does happen. I don't really like restrict myself in that respect too much. What's going on?
So that one there with the pony, the thing on top of her head, is the one that couldn't stand up last time.
The neighbourhood
and that's
watch.
that's the gang leader.
Drama on the street.
Yeah, see, he never really associates with them. He's always a few steps behind. Have a rest.
My evening meals, however, do tend to be relatively healthy, like spaghetti bolognese or pasta-based, carb-based, protein-based, all of that sort of stuff, and I tend to rotate it between something like chicken or mincemeat or red meat, and yeah, just generally healthy stuff in the evenings, but I tend to graze and carry on eating if I'm still hungry. I don't tend to like limit myself in that respect. Here we go on another day. My legs were throbbing after yesterday's bike session, but seem to have come around a little bit more now. It wasn't anything outrageous, but probably the first like higher intensity one that I've done with high power for quite a sustained period of time. So yeah, feeling all right. Swim session to do, run, and then easy spin this afternoon. So the Tuesday swim session was pretty solid. It was 10 400s threshold, so I think I was swimming about 5 minutes for the 400s and off of about 5:30. So not too much rest, and it was pretty solid swimming in the long course pool. My arms were hurting towards the back end, but that's pretty normal, nothing to stress about. Went for another run with the boys, did some hill strides, and yeah, everything seems to be firing quite well at the moment, so not really stressed about that, just kind of trying to tick over and get the job done.
Today's Ironman diet.
Your leftovers.
At least not even any bolognese.
No, but I've still got...
What else do you have?
This is particularly pathetic. It's worth noting, however, it's worth noting that I just graze throughout the day. Like, this isn't lunch per se. It's just another meal. I might have 3 lunches. In the afternoon, I tend to have a 90-minute spin. Again, pretty easy. Like, that being said, 260 odd watts or whatever it is. Just rolling over, just making sure that I'm keeping on top of the pedals, because on Wednesday I tend to take it a little bit easier. Getting it done, 90 minutes or so. Been working on the basis of like 16 sessions a week, and this must be session 6, so 10 more to go.
I can tell you've only just started.
Not sweaty enough.
We'll come back for an update on Monday.
What the fuck is that? Wednesday, however, was a little bit of a nightmare because we didn't have our normal pool to swim in. We had to go down the bay and do it kind of self-led, no coach, which is fine. It's more of a technique session, but it ended up being a long course session and a little bit heavier on the arms. So that was going to affect Thursday's session because you had a little bit more meterage in the arms in terms of long course. You don't have as many turns, so it does take its toll. I wouldn't say it's the most appetizing thing to look at, but this is pretty much what I have every single morning without fail. I'm not very skimpy with the like peanut butter and jam and butter. Absolutely cake it on. And it's, yeah, easy and quick release and a little bit of slow release and this, that and the other. So yeah, energy essentially.
It already feels like it's a little bit thicker than the chili.
Yeah, no, it is. It's in between the varm.
It is chili. With vengeance. I'm red. I go try and red over I'll take it.
but I go like table over force. Basically what I'm saying is I'd go for Shimano.
So it goes Dura Ace. Dura Ace is like, I was looking at a full, like all the componentry. I think it's like $6 grand.
It's expensive, that's what it is.
No, it's not.
Dura
Not
Ace.
6 grand.
Nah.
Well, it may be Aussie dollars.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was looking.
I like SRAM for ease of installation and lack of cables, but
It's like, he says, yeah.
cheers.
Yes, please.
I'll just grab one of the cinnamon buns.
Thank you.
This is my favourite post swim run breakfast.
Yeah, but then I get here and I just like, I mistake this for breakfast, and I get home and have nothing.
Oh, that's a rookie error.
I can't run off this.
I get home and then have another, well, I call it lunch. We get home at like, I don't know, 11:30, and then by 12 I'm having
Which
lunch.
is so crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to get back that way.
So this is second breakfast, and then when I get home have lunch, and then probably another snack before I do a ride.
But does a cinnamon roll, does that count as breakfast? That can't be breakfast.
I mean, that's quite big.
I feel like as an athlete, I can't say that that's breakfast.
Nah, in fairness, the almond croissants are a little bit more dense. Wednesday in general though is just a big long aerobic day. I took it very easy on the pedals, like on the bike with the group, because I knew that Thursday was going to be quite heavy. Brings us up to date. We are now on Thursday. I've done a swim this morning, which was a pretty solid threshold swim again, which was like 200 hard, well, 2 100s hard, 800 pretty solid, 3 100s, 700 solid, and about 4K worth of that sort of work. Swam it in again about 75s per 100, long course swimming, pretty solid, arms were hurting at the end. But yeah, still seeming to go quite well, and I do, however, notice that I am starting to lose a little bit of weight. 28 to 30 hours of training a week is just hard to keep on top of, like I said earlier in the video, but I'm doing my best. Like, I am eating as much as I possibly can, high calorie dense foods, so it's really hard to actually consume like a lot of stuff, so it just has to be calorie dense. To fuel the training. I'm fueling during the sessions, after the sessions, before the day, all sorts of that stuff. But yeah, it's just a case of being on top of it, making sure that I'm not being depleted at any one time, and just being ready to do the sessions more than anything. Hydration is one thing that I've been really hot on. I've been taking a lot of the precision hydration tabs, because the electrolytes is something that I tend to lose quite often, especially when it's hot. It is worth noting that everyone is different. Everyone has a different sweat rate, everyone has a different metabolism, everyone does different amount of training. It's more important to just be hot on it. Make sure you're not tired in and around training. I think that's the biggest one, especially if you're an age group athlete. Like, you shouldn't be falling asleep at your desk. You shouldn't be like not wanting to go to the shops because you're knackered. It's just not worth compromising life just to be depleted. That's not the point. Just keep on top of your fueling and hydration and you should be absolutely fine. A quick rundown of what I tend to eat and drink throughout the day. First things first, I have a bagel, peanut butter and jam, cake it with peanut butter and jam and butter. But then also after, and a litre of water before I swim. Then during the swim session, I tend to have another litre or two, and then something very quick and small before the run. Run 10k or 10 to 15k straight after the swim. Then straight after that, I then have a second breakfast, if you will, and that can be anything from another peanut butter and jam on toast, or a tea melon pastry, or anything of that sort of thing, just to kind of top myself up again. That's probably another 500 to 1,000 calories, I reckon, straight after swimming before lunchtime then. And then lunchtime I tend to again have a decent feed, carby sort of based meal, because in the afternoon I then get on the bike. And after lunch I also tend to have like dessert or a snack or something like that, and again that's quite significant. I wouldn't say it's not sufficient or substantial, so it's probably another 2 meals there. And yeah, again, then get on the bike, fuel throughout the bike, have another 2 to 3 to 4 litres depending on what's going on that day. Then straight after the bike, again, yogurt, protein, drink, maybe even a milkshake, something along those lines before dinner. And then dinner again is something very carby, probably meat based as well. Could be meat and 2 veg or something along those lines as well. And then yeah, dessert, carry on eating, I snack. Even before dinner I tend to have snacks as well. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff throughout the day. Nothing in particular, but however I do tend to stick to roughly similar sorts of food because I'm pretty lazy in terms of decision fatigue and can't be asked to make up new recipes. So yeah, that's a quick rundown of what I tend to do on a day-to-day basis for fueling. Right, I think it's time to get on this bike. It's a 3.5 hour session with about 2.5 hours worth of around the 300 watt mark. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so the reason that I'm doing this on the turbo rather than outside is because the road's a little bit less reliable and I want to make sure that I get the most out of the session in terms of power and conditioning. So don't want to be absolutely hammering it down the road and then have cars or traffic or anything like that hampering me. So yeah, setting up the turbo, got all my nutrition there, which is 2 bottles of carbohydrate, high concentrated stuff, so I think 4 scoops in each. And then these are more electrolytes, just to make sure that I'm keeping on top of those salts, because I tend to be a pretty salty sweater. So yeah, this is the battle station, should be good. Hopefully I get through it okay. That looks pretty grim. Okay, so yeah, that was tough. 3.5 hours worth of work, not work, 3.5 hour ride with 2.5 hours worth of work, alternating between something like 270 and 310. So averaging out maybe 290, is that right? Yeah, I mean, it's a long time to be in the aero position. It was okay, but my knees and like lower quad hurt a little bit. Not too bad, but promising, let's put it that way. Definitely not anything to worry about. Hopefully I can progress that over the coming weeks. I'll keep you updated with that and tell you how it goes, but yeah, so far so good. The run session tomorrow morning may not be so good, but we'll see. So just to sum up today, on a quick calorie count, just according to Training Peaks, 3,200 I think it was for that ride. Apparently, according to Training Peaks again, the swim was about 1,000 and the run was about 700. So in total, that's almost 5,000 just from exercise. Plus, let's call it 2,500 for, I don't know, an average male just needs to consume throughout the day. I'm probably less because my general metabolism tends to be more efficient with just being sedentary, but yeah, like it's like a 7,000 calorie day easily. But hopefully yesterday's fueling and today's fueling during all the exercise and in between should keep on top of it.